With open hearts and minds, proclaim our destiny.
Hello?
Okay. It's very important that when I'm speaking today that I don't shout, because apparently you get accused of all kinds of things if you shout at speeches. So I'm going to try as much as possible not to do that. Although given the topic at hand, that's a little bit difficult to do as a father of children. I'm very glad to see such a large crowd turn out today. All of you from various groups and some of you just individuals here to make a very straight statement to the government about the protection of our children. And of all the twists and turns that we have had during the course of 2020, and my God, it has got to have been one of the strangest years by anybody's standards. Who would have imagined in January the number of things that have happened between here and now? But above them all, and standing head and shoulders in the filth, has got to be the fact that a group of Irish people have to gather outside of their houses of the Oireachtas to demand that paedophilia not be tolerated in this country in 2020. And the insanity that is involved in that being a necessity, and it is a necessity, is compounded by the fact that there are groups in this country who have spent the last week deriding everybody who intended to be here. We have arrived at the point in this nation's history when it is possible to stand up or go on social media or go on television and defend a paedophile apologist. And I make no excuses for calling Peter Tatchell a paedophile apologist. And I make no excuses either for adding another line. And he can sue me if he wants. Just me. Not the responsibility of anybody else in this crowd. By his association, the Minister for Children is himself a paedophile apologist. What he said. What he said after 5 days of lauding Peter Tatchell and talking about what a great man he was on social media, he finally came out with a statement. Not because he was put under pressure by RTE, because RTE didn't mention it at all, the state broadcaster. Not because it was mentioned on TV3, because it wasn't. Not because it was mentioned in the newspapers, because it wasn't. But the social media pressure grew to such a point that he had to make a statement. And no journalist had spoken up until now, but they spoke in favour of Rhetoric O'Gorman when he came out to make a statement condemning people for having thrown foul abuse at him. I don't know how foul the abuse could be that might be thrown at somebody on social media that could compare to the foulness that is represented by Peter Tatchell. And he said, and this is his own explanation, 5 days to come up with it, and his PR experts too. He said, I might have reconsidered having that photograph taken and putting that tweet up if I'd known that Peter Tatchell was in favour of paedophilia. I might have. This is the person who was proposed as the Minister for Children in this country now. But then he said, and his media advisors came out and his media supporters came out and they said, look, it's one photograph. And one photograph doesn't make him responsible for what Peter Tatchell says. And Rhetoric O'Gorman said he didn't know what Peter Tatchell had said about paedophilia. There isn't a single person in the world who knows the name Peter Tatchell and does not know that he has publicly supported paedophilia in the past and repeatedly. It is simply not believable to say that I only took a photograph with him and I didn't know what his opinions were. If you know who Peter Tatchell is, you know what he said. But it was only one letter to the Guardian newspaper, and it was edited. And thank God that Peter Tatchell clarified that first. Except he didn't tell us the part that it had been edited. The part that had been edited was not the part where he said that you could have a joyous experience as a 9-year-old child having sexual contact with an adult. That was not the piece that was denied. You say to yourself, look, let's be reasonable here. And I'm going to try and be reasonable here. It's only a photo. The first day of Christmas. That was the first day of July, is it? Because it turns out that Peter Tatchell didn't just write an edited letter to the Guardian. Peter Tatchell wrote a chapter for a book, which is well known as the Paedophile's Handbook in Britain. But Peter Tatchell says he didn't know what book his chapter was going into. So he didn't know about all the other paedophiles. 2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. Peter Tatchell then went on to make the exact same statement just 4 years ago, because another thing they say, it's a very long time ago. Now, there's some things I've done a very long time ago and they're not letting them go. And I think some of the audience will be aware of what they are. And some of you were born after the things that I'm supposed to have done that were so very, very terrible. They didn't involve molesting a child. They didn't involve suggesting molesting a child. They didn't involve condoning. They didn't involve advocating. They didn't involve changes in the law. They didn't involve reduction in consent. They revolved around, I made a speech at a meeting in another country to an organization who I have not spoken to in 20-something odd years. 4 years ago, Peter Tatchell repeated exactly what he had said, that you could have. And in particular, he mentioned, it's funny, he mentioned Derek Jarman, and he said, who is unfortunately deceased. Because Derek Jarman told him, unfortunately now he's deceased, we can't ask Derek Jarman, but Derek Jarman told him that as a 9-year-old child, he had such a joyous sexual contact. No! That statement by a 50-year-old man about an experience with at 9 years of age would be recognized by any psychologist worth a good goddamn as being a defense mechanism that they abused use to cope with how awful the events that happened to them were. And we can see the trace of damage through. I see there are people actually here on behalf of the pedophiles. Abuse. There are actually people who attended this protest to advocate in favor of child abuse. Peter Tatchell, who by the way, only made a mistake with the book, and only made a mistake with the letter, and only made a mistake with the statements made over and over and over again. Also gave an obituary to a man he knew well, who's involved in the paedophile information network. This is the man that Rhetoric O'Rin says he might not have taken a photograph with him if he knew. The partridge in a pear tree has become 5 golden rings, 2 turtle doves, 3 French hens. It goes on and it builds and it builds. And the idea that he knew none of this at any time. Now, we see the people over there, and they remind me of that phrase that is used sometimes in politics. Be careful to choose the hill you die on. Be careful to choose the hill you die on. Because the hill that I'm willing to die on is the defense of my children against child and abusers, whether they are at the highest level of government or the lowest level of street car brawling. Be careful the hill you decide to die on in politics. That's a metaphor, by the way. That's a metaphor, by the way. There can be no scenario in which we can believe that Rhetoric O'Rin does not share the fundamental worldview of Peter Tatchell. He had the audacity to announce on the day after his explanation, if that's what it's supposed to be called, his explanation of the photograph, the partridge in the pear tree. He had the audacity then to say that we are going to force transgenderism without parental consent on 16-year-olds. That's the first step. That is the first step, and we know it's the first step. It's the first step to removing parental responsibilities for their children's education and welfare altogether and handing it over to the state. And in what has got to be the softest interview that that Peter Tatchell has ever had on Matt Cooper. Even there, he admitted it. Even there, he admitted it. Children do not belong to their parents. Children belong to the state. No! And there they are over there, the communists of the left, who think everything belongs to the state. But it's everything that belongs to the state except the stuff that they own. You can be absolutely guaranteed that private property being theft stops at the point at which they have some actual property. And if they had any children and any decency, they would walk away from here with their heads down. This is not tenable. That the Minister for Children, Rhetoric O'Gorman, can remain in that position under these circumstances. And all he has spent the last week doing is taking a shovel to the issue and digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Now I know, and I don't expect absolutely everybody in the crowd to agree with me. I'm known for having fairly strong views on things. So I'm going to finish on this line so that my reputation doesn't go untarnished. The only debate that we should have about pedophilia in this country should take place in a courthouse. Where the pedophile rapist, following a free and fair trial and a conviction for the first offense, should hear these words from the judge. I hereby order the defendant to be taken from this place to a suitable place of execution and hanged by the neck until he is dead. That is our debate. That is our debate on pedophilia in a courthouse, ending with a noose. Thank you very much.
Brilliantly said.
Appreciate that, thank you. Just around there with the soundtrack house before the court. Wait here for the next speaker, then I'll be We can hear it on the sound check. We're just going to leave it live.
We do not consent. Pedophilia. We don't consent, sorry, we don't consent to pedophilia. You do that, we don't. Take them down. I wouldn't take that. We don't consent. We don't consent. That's our building, man. That's our building, shop. Try it your own people. Not try it your own people.
I don't know if you can hear me there, ladies and gentlemen. Just wait for the next speaker to come up. So what is some background noise? No point in me talking. Down here, see if you can hear me. I'm down at the bottom down there. How are you? I'm live here now, so we'll go back. Thank you. Don't identify, I'm live here. Giving your secrets away. Just see everybody looking well. Just catching a couple of handshakes and walking around. Reaching out. Everybody's identifying themselves. I'm live. I hope you can hear me here. Everybody's giving out their own personal information. So I thought I'd step back here and wait for the next speaker to come back up as well. You have obviously the few of the lefties there. Can you give me a sound check? Maybe the boys are coming through here. I'm going to go for as long as the speech lasts, but just let me know if you have to record. Great stuff. Thank you for that, Lloyd. It's a little bit of a lag here, so I'm going to hover around here. I'll let you keep an eye on my back here. You can see the amount of people that are here. Hopefully you can hear. Hopefully I'm coming off the earpiece here, not coming off the microphone. But the next speaker comes up, which I believe will either be John Connors or Hermann Kelly. And then we'll get back up to the front again as well, because I know the noise is distracting. There are a few detractors here as well, but there's plenty of support all the way around. Lots of good patriots here, keeping an eye on each other. 700 in the room. Don't forget to smash that like button if you can hear me. 5x5 from the live chat. All well and good. We've got Periscope and we've got Facebook online as well too. Great to have you all. As I say, great support here. Some great speeches coming up ahead. So as long as the batteries are going, which is all good, we seem to be okay. As long as you can hear me, we'll just walk around for amongst the crowd here a bit, just give you a flavour. There won't be much talking because the music is quite loud. But thank you for your support. Stay tuned in. I'll switch the camera around now. Yeah, I recognize everything. I'm live. It's a nice pizza. Slow. This is so slow. Just playing with the controls here, doing my best there, just to figure out the
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you had told me last week that I'd be standing here on this stage outside the GPO protesting the Minister for Children, I would have laughed at you. But this is 2020 after all. And the events seem to be getting stranger and stranger as we go along. My name is Sheamus O'Rin, and I'm from Rhetoric. And as we said before, there's going to be a couple of speakers here later on that are independent of themselves. And they're their own men and their own women, and they'll say their own words. But what I want you to understand today is this is not just one particular event or one person or two person. There's a wider element to this. So if you're out there today, what I want you to do is start getting organized. Know the names of your TDs, right? Find out who their names are. Because if you think for 1 minute, the people inside there, those men with empty chests are going to stand up for you and your children, not their children, your children, you're mistaken. It's not going to happen without pressure. It is not going to happen. The second point is this. We do not have an independent media in this country. Where are they? Where are they? They rolled out within an hour of a press release from the Minister for Children of Roger O'Gorman. Within an hour, they rolled out the articles. With the exception of two people. That was Ciara Kelly, who questioned Tatchell himself, and that was Niall Boylan, who put him to the cosh. you have to understand this, and it is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to go up against this monolith that is rolling along at the moment, right? They will call you all kinds of names. They're going to throw slurs at you. They're going to try to contact your employer. They're going to do all of those things. But this is the thing. When you stand up for the truth, and imagine this, imagine having to say this, that pro-pedophilia remarks are wrong. Imagine having that such a radical view where you think that someone that is sympathetic and is speaking out of both sides of his mouth is wrong. So don't be afraid. Start to get organized. You're a teacher out there, you work in the NCCA, whatever you're doing, get organized. Come speak to me afterwards. I'm now going to hand you over to Hermann Kelly, who's the president of the Irish Freedom Party. He's going to introduce the next speaker. Thank you for your time. God save Ireland.
Who got dressed up today, huh? Hermann Kelly is my name, president of the Irish Freedom Party. Some of you are friends and you know me, some of you don't, so I say hello. Today we have the next speaker is a man called John Connors. The pride of Connacht. Actor, filmmaker. I tell you what, in that milieu, it takes not only brains and principles to stand up, but it takes balls for a man to go against the massive, liberal, trendy, yeah, right on, whatever you want, man. In that, with all what we say, you know the agenda they have, you know the agenda that is prevalent there. So, ladies and gentlemen, a Carja Gale, straight away give you Mr. John Connors. Give him a welcome.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'd just like to say before I get started that there was a couple of speakers who were going to speak here today. 2 young women who were sexual abuse survivors. Now, unfortunately, the women were stopped from speaking here today. But I'd like to say that the bravery they demonstrated, even willing to show up here today and talk about their experiences, has inspired me to no end and ensured I would never back out. Never! Now, I'm an independent speaker here today. I'm speaking for myself. I'm a proud traveller man, and I'm glad to see there's many travellers in the crowd supporting this. I'm a proud Kulak man, and I'm glad to see there's many Kulak lads and girls in the crowd supporting this. And I'm a proud Irish man, and I'm glad to see all my Irish people in the crowd supporting this. You know what? I have to say I am absolutely delighted that the fascist group known as Antifa showed up here today. I'm delighted because we have delegitimized every cause they ever fought for. Let's not forget one of the founders of Antifa Ireland is a paedophile himself. Patrick Corcoran. What's his name? Patrick Corcoran. Found with child pornography. This is what you're fighting for. You're leftists, this is what you're fighting for, liberals. You're liberal! Are you serious? Oh my God, you make me fucking laugh. You're hilarious. Trying to stop me, you have no idea. In the last 10 days, the amount of people have gotten on to me, the amount of accusations, labels, defamation, assassination of my character. My career is over. Apparently I'm cancelled again. I was cancelled a few years ago for defending the unborn, you know, the most innocent life on planet Earth. And I came back from that. And that's because I am independent and I depend on nobody else for my own living. You make me laugh. All these accusations and scars because these are the people who preach acceptance and tolerance and equality and peace and love. And these are the people who are calling me knacker and pikey on Twitter. Telling me, John, if you just back down, we'll back off. If I back down, I will never back down, because this is a hill I will have to die on. If you cannot defend children, you're not worth living, in my opinion. What is wrong with you people? Well, let me talk about Peter Tatchell. Peter Tatchell talked about the normalization and joyous, beneficial relationship a 9-year-old can have with a sexual relationship with an adult. Okay? Peter Tatchell has been advocating to lower the age of consent for decades, down to 14 years of age. That's Peter Tatchell. Peter Tatchell has been associated with pedophiles and even wrote an obituary for one of them, mourning their death. That's Peter Tatchell. So, when you dare to question the new Minister for Children about his relationship, in which he's very proud of, all of a sudden, we're fascists, we're far-right, we're racists, we're homophobes. I don't give a shit what the man's sexuality is. If he was straight, I'd be saying the same thing. If anything, you're homophobic for not questioning it. So, we're in a situation now where if you defend Irish children, you're a fascist. It's controversial. That's where we're at right now. Now, I said to Robert Gorman, take back your statement, disavow your connection, and we'll accept that, okay? But what happened? 5 or 6 days of pressure from the Irish people, from all of you, finally made him disavow his connection. And what did he say? He probably wouldn't have taken the picture. Probably. Well, I know I'd never take a picture with a fucking pedophile apologist. But not only that, then other tweets started surfacing. There's some very questionable tweets, and we know that he's had a past relationship. So then you see, what's his agenda? So his agenda is the first thing that he tackles when he becomes Minister for Children. The most important thing, he says, is for underage children to have access to undergo sexual transitional therapy operations. That's the first thing. Not end child poverty in Ireland, not end child homelessness in Ireland. He didn't say, I'm going to make sure that children are not going to be living in hostels, they're not going to be living in hotels, in parks or tents. No. They have easier access to an operation that is very serious and irreversible. And that's why Rhetoric Gorman is not fit to be Minister for Children. So take out your fucking smoke it. Now, good man, he saw the water, he saw the dry mouth. I'm going to help it. Back to Peter Tatchell. Now, we have to ask questions. When I came in here, I met actually two sexual survivors that went through the industrial school system. And we have to ask, why were those things allowed to happen in the Catholic Church? We have to ask it because people didn't ask questions and people stayed silent. That's what happened. So we're now asking the same questions that they're all asking about the Catholic Church. But when it suits their agenda, they don't want to fucking know. We have to ask why Peter Tatchell wrote for the Irish Independent about lowering the age of consent in Ireland. We have to ask that. We have to ask why Peter Tatchell in February gone spoke in the Free Derry Museum up in Derry, a place I love. Why was he speaking there? We have to ask that question. Why did Peter Tatchell get a James Joyce Award from the University of College of Dublin? Are we insane for asking this? These people have become a part of our establishment. Make no mistake, this is the establishment against everybody else. Because the ordinary Irish people got in touch with me online and it's been overwhelming. I'm talking about people from every background, young and old, gay and straight, left, right and centre, told me they support this cause. Now let's get clear what the agenda is. There's an organisation called Educate and Celebrate. Now, they advised Irish teachers as to how to exclude Irish parents from their own children's sexual education. And let me give you a little humdinger. Peter Tatchell is the patron of that organisation. Oh yeah! Just Google that shit. One Google away and you get that shit. That's how we're inviting into the Irish establishment. So what I'm saying here to the people of Ireland is never stop fucking questioning, never stop defending our children, and never stay silent. Not my minister. Not my minister. Not my minister. Not my minister.
Not my minister! Not my minister! Not my minister!
Thank you all very much. God bless Ireland.
John, you were all right. John, you were all
John,
Hello. Good day, Paddy Manning, Hermann Kelly. Oh, I was going to do a gender reveal. I forgot to put on my mask. Going to do a gender reveal. I'm coming out. People have been accused of being about homophobia. Well, I'm coming out. I'm telling you now that I'm a woman. I'm pregnant. I'm having a baby. And you, bake my cake. Bake my cake. Woo! Oscar Wilde once said, to lose one parent is unlucky. To lose two parents is careless. Well, I'll tell you what, Peter Tatchell is the most careless paedophile promoter in the world. He wrote a letter advocating pedophilia to the Guardian. He said it was edited. He wrote an obituary for the head of Paedophile Education Network. He said he didn't know he was a paedophile. He wrote another article, and he said, oh, he didn't know. My God, how many times do you have to be unlucky? Now, the alternative to that scenario, that the guy is the unluckiest, most careless moron, paedophile promoter in the world, is just to accept that he's lying through his teeth. So no one is going to come in and say, yeah, I'm in favor of paedophilia. Are they going to do that? No, they're going to bring it in slowly, subtly, all the time. Try it again and again, and that's what he's done. And do you know what we found out in the last 2 weeks to our shock? That this guy, who's been known, infamous for 3 decades in the UK and universally for his USP of promoting paedophilia and sex with children, he's all over the Irish establishment. He's been in with the Green Party. He's a member of the Green Party in Britain. And let's talk about the Green Party. Oh yeah, they said, oh, this is a bit of an outlier. We didn't know this. That's a lie. Of course they knew. The Green Party in Germany, I had to apologize, for up until the mid-80s, it was their official policy to promote paedophilia. Danny Cohn-Bendit in the European Parliament, he was talking about fondling the testicles of young kids. And he wrote it in a book, and he said, oh, that was the times. You don't have to know it. You don't have to be in any generation or time to know that groping and molesting and abusing kids is wrong. So, and then he comes over, and we see Peter Tatchell is accepted, and the Irish establishment put their arms around him. So it wasn't just the Green Party, it wasn't just Sinn Féin, but also Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil. So basically it's clear that official Ireland, with their crap about LGBT IQ minus, about they want the gender recognition for kids under 16 as a priority. And let's not kid ourselves that official Ireland, that so many members of these parties are opposed to child abuse. No, it's in plain sight. If ripping a young child apart in the womb of its mother is not child abuse, I don't know what is. They're all for child abuse. Do you remember the Sinn Féin line from Bobby Sands? That, and we all used to shout it when we were kids up in Derry, that our revenge will be the laughter of our children. Do you know what it is now for Sinn Féin? Our revenge, our mission is the slaughter of our children. They're all on it. the Greens, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, all of Ireland. All, no, I'm not saying all the members, because there's many good people in Fianna Fáil. Now, Fine Gael's a partitions party, and I have a bit of a hard time saying, but I'm sure there's good people in Fine Gael, and there's probably decent and very misled people in Sinn Féin and the Greens, but believe me, the leaders of all those parties have seen what's going on in Ireland, and they've tolerated. Did you hear one person come out and lambast Peter Tatchell over the last 2 weeks? Did you hear one person? Did you hear Matt Cooper with a blowjob he gave him on radio? What about the Irish media? What are they? Prostitutes! Prostitutes! The Irish whore media! They're not here to ask hard questions to those in power. No, they're here to rub their little tummies and keep on their little hard agenda day in, day out, day in, day out. They want to introduce this, and what are we going to call concerned parents bring it up? Homophobes, bigots, Neanderthals. No. We are Irish bigots. We are parents who will stand up for our kids, and nobody will stand against us. And let's look, John Miller, Ellie Barnes, how deep it is it in the official Ireland? Ellie Barnes. Educate and celebrate. Yeah, speaking at an INTO conference in Wexford in February, telling teachers, Irish teachers, not to tell parents what they're teaching, not to write letters home, cover it up, keep it quiet, just between ourselves. We get the kids and then we do what we want. We get them in private and then we do what we want. We get them in the classroom and then we do what we want. Well, you know what? If the Greens and those perverts, the Green Party and Sinn Féin, they got 99% of the vote tomorrow in an election. If they got 99% and they wanted to impose an ideology and teaching programs on our kids, you know what we would tell them? Go fuck yourselves! The Irish Constitution was brought in 1937. It was a time of fascism and communism and state authority. And that Constitution was to protect the individual, the family, unions, the churches, all institutions from the untrammeled power of the state and the government. So whatever they say, we have the natural rights, as outlined in our Constitution, to be the sole deciders of the ethos of our children's education. So we can tell them, go fuck yourselves! Sorry, my friends. So, official Ireland, that's the way they are. So I would ask you, the only thing they understand, politicians, most of them are, vast majority of them are scum of the earth in Ireland. They're the biggest cowards. They hate our country. They're happy to have our laws imposed from Brussels and the north from London. They're no lads. Write email, go and make every TD, and you tell them, we're not going to have your crap rammed down our throat or our children's throat about gender recognition, about your RSE programs. No, we're the parents. They're not the state's kids. They're our kids. So get your hands off our kids. 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 Get your hands off our kids.
Get your hands off our kids! Get your hands off our kids! Get your hands off our kids! Get your hands.
Good guys. That's good. We got a few solos here. Right. Wait there. No, I can't even read it. I'm too vain to put on glasses. So I would ask you, the only thing politicians understand is you take money off the bastards or you take votes off them. So you got a choice of parties. I'm president of the Irish Freedom Party. I've got the best soup, so vote for me.
Unite! All nationalists together! Unite! Unite!
tell you one thing. The only thing they understand is you take votes off them. So get politically involved. What party you join is your choice. Oh my God, did I say your choice? I hate that phrase. Yeah, and when they say, yeah, they're against child abuse and lying through their teeth because I told you that they're in favour of abortion and dismembering kids in a mother's womb, they are in favour of child abuse. And when they want to bring in, sorry, excuse me, but if this gender recognition, so they want to introduce legislation They want to introduce legislation for a legal process to allow children under 16 to change their gender. Right? So they are in favour of, without your consent, allowing your child to be, their genitals to be mutilated. Who's in favour of that? Nobody! Never allow it. Never allow it. So I'll say, because I don't want to hog the microphone, I'll bring in the other speaker, but get involved politically. Tell the TDs that you're going to take the votes off them. You're going to vote for an alternative political party. Only them will they change their tune. And just one last thing. We would expect that the Catholic Church and the bishops would stand up and defend the ethos of their school, but they will do nothing. They're cowards, they're dead men walking. Don't depend on a politician. Don't depend on these current crop of Catholic bishops, as they may call themselves. They're a farce. You, parents of Ireland, have to stand up and to protect your kids. Don't rely on anybody else. Don't rely on a politician. Don't rely on a bishop. You can stand up and protect your own kids. So get your hands off our kids. Get your hands off our kids. Get your hands off our kids. Okay. Right, Paddy. I don't know that. Right, everybody, I'd like to introduce you. This good-looking man here. Look at that for his shirt. My God, he's got balls. Paddy Manning, pro-life campaigner, all-round good-looker.
You're after an intro like that, I don't think I need to speak at all. Why are you here today? Are you here to protect children? Yes! They can't hear you! Are you here to protect children? Make them hear you! Are you here to keep toxic British activists out of the Irish establishment? Are you here to make sure that the job of the Minister for Children is to actually protect children? Good, because oddly, that doesn't seem to be his job, and the Irish media do not want to make it his job. For 6.5 days, Rodrigo Gorman refused to answer. For 6.5 days after appearing with a man who for 30 or more years has campaigned for paedophilia, Rodrigo Gorman sang "Scum," and the Irish media covered for him. It got so bad that when they couldn't do it any longer, Matt Cooper brought Peter Tatchell onto his radio show. And what did he do? He licked him like a lollipop. And that's what we're up against. And at the back somewhere, at the back, our friends who hate free speech, our friends from Antifa who support child abuse, our friends from Antifa who want us silenced so we can't talk about child abuse. Well, hello, lads! If this is the hill you've decided to die on, it's a bad hill. Peter Tatchell is, of course, one of the unluckiest men on earth. He writes a letter to the Guardian criticizing a woman who described a book on paedophilia as an excuse for child abuse. But he claims that the Guardian of all places, the Guardian edited it to make it sound like he was in favour. 3 days later he wrote another letter, but he never complained they edited the first one. And what about the fact that when Ian Campbell Dunn died, he was at the funeral, and there was a young man in that small crowd of mourners, a young man who told everyone, "I'm here because he raped me when I was 14, and I want to make sure the bastard is dead." Yeah! Yeah!
4 days later, Tatchell wrote an obituary that didn't even cover the fact that Ian Campbell Dunn was one of Britain's biggest campaigners for paedophilia. Well, he might not have known. He seems not to know a lot. When he wrote a chapter in a book promoting paedophilia, he didn't know that the editor was Warren Middleton. He didn't know that the next chapter in the book was Ways and Means, how to make paedophilia acceptable. He just didn't know.
Liar he is.
Ah, now be fair. Maybe he just needs a reminder. Maybe he's just unlucky. You wouldn't go into a lotto syndicate with him. Well, that bad luck continued, because Roderick O'Gorman would have gotten away with his toxic agenda, barred the fact that citizen journalists unearthed that photograph on his Twitter. The Irish media was never going to do it. So why is Roderick O'Gorman unsuitable as a minister for children? Let's start with what he believes about schools. O'Gorman believes that religion should be out of schools. No religious instruction, nothing. No prayers, nothing. Now, what he's campaigning for is what he calls a neutral ethos. There is no neutral ethos. So for that reason, Roderick O'Gorman must go. 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 Roderick O'Gorman also believes that prostitution is a career choice. Yes, he has tweeted about it. Prostitution. He ignores the fact that prostitution is largely trafficking of underage women.
100%, Paddy.
Roderick O'Gorman must go. Roderick O'Gorman must go. Roderick O'Gorman must go. Now, let me get to his worst. And this has been mentioned by several speakers. Roderick O'Gorman. Oh, by the way, first, let me cover another issue. Homophobia! I don't know, do you know? But I'm pretty much out of the closet. And I can tell you, the very lowest and worst form of homophobia is a double standard that insists that gay politicians have to be taken at a lower standard than straight politicians. Gay people are not some special butterflies that can't be questioned. Gay people are no longer victims, and Roderick O'Gorman, in a republic of equals, can be questioned. The very worst and most toxic thing about O'Gorman and his connections to Educate and Celebrate and the Tatchell Foundation is his pure buy-in to that appalling ideology of transgenderism, that insane, toxic, stupid craziness that insists that biology doesn't matter, you can be what you imagine you are. I don't care what adults do. I don't care if you want to wear lipstick and a dress with your beard and walk down Grafton Street and call yourself Loretta. Off you go. But when they apply that toxic agenda to children, that's where I say, Roderick O'Gorman must go! Roderick O'Gorman must go! Roderick O'Gorman must go! Do you know what they do to children before they hit puberty? When they get them into these vulnerable children into that position, they put them on drugs to delay puberty. So a boy will reach 18 with the same little equipment he had when he was 9. It's sick, you are right, and these drugs are untested. We do not know the effect, physically and psychologically, of delaying puberty until you're in your 20s. But it's worse with girls. When you put a girl on puberty blockers, you sterilize her. They are sterilizing 8, 9, and 10-year-old girls. When the Nazis did that sort of thing, we shot them. This must not come in here. And then, when that little girl reaches 12, 13, they do what they call top surgery. Because we can't use the word breasts, we can't say mastectomy, because technically they want to imagine that this is a boy. So they gave a 14-year-old girl a double mastectomy. Can you imagine doing that to a child? You're right. This is why, because he's bought in, because he wants this ideology, because this, as John pointed out, this sick, toxic craziness is his #1 priority. Not child homelessness, not child poverty, not child illiteracy. That's why, because he believes in this ridiculous rainbow ideology, Rodrigo Gorman must go! Rodrigo Gorman must go! Rodrigo Gorman must go! And now, let me remind you of one more fact. We were here some months ago talking about free speech. The only reason we could out and catch O'Gorman was free speech. If they had hate speech legislation, you would not be here today because you would not know. If they get hate speech legislation, dumb and silent, you will be led into their New Ireland. Rodrigo Gorman must go!
Thank you. There you go, yeah. Okay, we've had a lot of testosterone on the stage, so now it's time to hand it over to the women's with a nice bit of a softer approach. So our next speaker now is Jackie Gilbert, and she's with Renew Ireland. So put your hands together, please, and give her a show of support.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I am here today for the party. The children. You are here today for the children. We better be here for the children. To speak up and speak out. Say zero tolerance to child abuse. Zero tolerance! Zero tolerance! Zero tolerance! Ireland's proclamation of independence enshrines the promise of Pádraig Pearse to cherish all the children equally. I say no to abuse of any kind, to sexual abuse, to emotional abuse, no to violence against children. I say zero tolerance to abuse. Zero tolerance! Every life matters. Every child matters. We are bound to voice our concerns. We are bound to speak up and not stay quiet. It's up to all of us. History shows that across generations, the cries of children are better heard. It is people who have come before us, and people like you and me, who are better able to hear their cries, and we can do it better. We can do more, and we can do it now. People, let us put our hearts and minds and souls together. Let us be a testament to Pearse's promise to the children. Yes. The children of Ireland, to cherish them all equally. Yes. Let our voices rise in protest. Yes. And let us salute the genuine winning of good over evil in the human heart. I'll say that again. I'll say that again. The general winning of today in the name of all that's good. For all the children, the born and the unborn. When there's abuse, it's our fault. It's our bloody fault. We let them get away with it.
Right!
We have to speak out. We have to have sensible boundaries. We can't have boundaries that kill the unborn and expose the born to an adult world that can do real and lasting harm. Unhealthy sexual norms, promoted through education, technology, people have failed and continue to fail to set up sensible boundaries. The premature sexualization of children is not okay.
Enough is enough!
The premature loss of childhood is not okay.
Enough is enough!
The exploitation of children is not okay. We can debate. We can negotiate. We can better police our borders between children and adults. It's not too late. We can turn it around. We have to.
We can stop it!
We will. The dead children, the hurt and lost children can't do it. We have to do it for them. Of course, for society in general, it is not socially acceptable to prioritize the needs of the child. Selfish choice is everything. And yet I say, when it comes to the welfare of children, the priority is not the personal choice of the parent. That is the wrong priority. The priority is the child. Except when you voice that priority, you are silenced by name calling. You are labeled homophobic. It is not homophobic to bring the welfare of children out into the open.
Yes!
To bring the abuse of children out into the public awareness so that we can make it better for children. If we are to make a difference, we have to know what that difference is, and we have to commit to doing it. Yes. Let the children be children. Yes. Let them have the chance to live and to have a childhood. Yes.
Cherish all the children.
Innocence. It's a sad thing to stand here today with all our massive technology, our massive corporations, with all the massive wealth and advances in our world, to have to fight for the welfare and protection of a child. But we are not powerless. No. We can mind our children.
Yeah. We will win.
Yes. Let me finish by echoing the words of the late Robert Kennedy, brother of John F. Kennedy. Even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom to the awful grace of God. Love, wisdom, compassion towards others, to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of the world. My plea to you today is just that, to make gentle the life of this world for children. Join me. Join me. Speak up and speak out. Agree to you, Schlegelier.
With open hearts and minds, proclaim our
I'm going to sign off there. I think we've got all the speakers in play there. Thank you for your company there, and thank you for your support. I'll make some video edits later on, and I'll break the video speeches up. Great crowd, great attendance, as you can see. I'm going to sign off now, and we'll catch up with you later on. If there's any other further reporting, I'll just pump on live. Talk to you later. Actually, before I go, don't forget, smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Hit the subscription button while you're still here if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell and you'll be reminded of future broadcasts on the Grandstream. Please, if you would, if you could, please consider leaving your thoughts, comments, and witticisms in the comment section below. We do love to see them. And a big shout out to all our supporters on this platform. Links in the description box how you can support this platform. Again, don't forget you can use our website, worldwideweb.grandtorino.ie. So there will be other reports. Look forward to all the other YouTube content creators. They will be broadcasting and having their thoughts. We'll check in with you later on, probably Monday morning. Have a good one.
We'll go on once more.